His endless patience and his persistence and his great demeanor have seen this through and gotten us to where we are today. My colleagues, this is a day I've been looking forward to for a long time. We are about to achieve some really big things. Things that the cynics have scoffed at for years, decades even. Ideas that have been worked on for so long to help hardworking Americans who have been left behind for too long. Today, we are giving the people of this country their money back. This is their money after all. Mr. Chairman, or Speaker of the House is not in order.
The chair notes a contravention of the law and against the rules of the House. The Sergeant at Arms will identify the person or persons responsible and have them escorted from the House chamber before proceedings will resume.
All right. Did you cut it off? What happened to it?
No, I think they did.
Oh, they did. Okay. So I guess they were afraid the lady would start cussing. So Paul Ryan is in the middle of giving his speech. They're about to vote on your your tax reform. And this lady starts screaming, "You're lying, you're lying. It's all for the rich," because she's clearly some left-winger who's completely bought hook, line, and sinker all of the garbage the left has sold about this tax plan. And you can't, if you're reducing tax rates by 3% in every category and you draw an income, you will pay less in taxes next year, federal taxes, than you paid this year. And if you make more than $400,000 a year and take a lot of deductions, there's a chance you'll pay more in taxes. How does that benefit the rich?
But here's their problem, and I heard it from there's a political consultant who does a radio show on another channel, and I heard him, and he gave the reason, spelled it out. He was against this tax cut because he was saying Apple already is worth $1 trillion. They have almost $1 trillion in cash reserves. And he's like, why does Apple need another $45 billion? That's the way they look at it. Even though it's their money, the company's money, even though it's wealthy people's money, and because they're wealthy, they're going to get a much higher tax refund than we are. That's what they have a problem with. Even though that $45 billion is Apple's money. But he's like, why should they get it back?
These are the same people that want to, that their sole focus in life is the transfer of wealth, right? Yeah. From who they perceive to be the rich to somebody else who didn't earn it. That's what they want. And to me, that's a socialist or communist argument that I don't need to hear. Yeah. I'm sorry that you're angry at somebody else's success. But the bottom line is that the majority of companies that will benefit from this are not like Apple. And they've struggled more, and they need this boost and it will be a boost to the U.S. economy. Now that they've hopefully tackled the person in the gallery at the House and dragged them out by their feet, let's go back to Paul Ryan for just a moment.
It punishes hard work. It discourages our entrepreneurial spirit. It dims freedom and free enterprise. It limits our potential of our own people. When Americans see good jobs going away, when Americans wake up and they see the companies that they grew up with in their communities going away, they wonder if we have lost something bigger. The mission that drives us here today is to restore this beautiful American idea. What is that idea? That the condition of your birth does not determine the outcome of your life. You can work hard, play by the rules, get ahead, and make a better life for yourselves and an even better one for your kids. It is that sense of possibility. We want people to be free to strive and to make the most of their lives. We want a country with the resilience to endure and tackle all of its challenges.
Paul Ryan continuing his speech there. You know, I know that a speechwriter probably wrote that for him, but let's just leave it. Let's not overplay it. I'm happy that tax reform is going to happen. It's not nearly as big as it should be because you've got a group of obstinate people called Democrats in Congress who who think they're smarter than you are and know better how to spend your money than you do. And they won't give you more of it back as they should, so we have to take this small cut that they are giving us. So I don't think we should overplay the significance of this. I think it's great because 12 months ago, had the election gone differently, we certainly wouldn't be having this conversation.
Exactly.
And I'd probably be a drunken mess somewhere out on the street corner.
And the thing is, and I'm showing both of our.
I'm just kidding.
Too much information?
That was a joke.
Okay.
That was a joke.
But I'm showing both of our ages a little bit. But I remember 1986 when the major tax reform happened, because I remember seeing all these commercials talking about IRAs, and it's like, IRA, what is that? Yeah. And they were talking about how much you could deduct for retirement and all that. So, I was 20 years old. The last time the tax reform happened. So it was something that's needed. It's done. As you said, it's not as big as it should have been. But I think lowering the corporate tax rate will keep that capital here and will bring it back to this country for investment. And
well,
I think that's important and it's worth it.
Yeah, it is worth it. I wonder in the end how much of a simplification it's going to be. Remember, the original idea was to get rid of all deductions, make it almost like a clean slate. Yeah. Here it is. You get this personal deduction. We're lowering these rates, but you're not going to get anything else. Well, we've added back in the mortgage deduction. We've added back in the state and local property tax deduction. We've added back in or left in a lot of deductions.
Tax reform is never going to be the postcard that you send on April 15th. It's always going to be messing with the rates and the deductions here and there. But I don't think we'll ever see what you envision and I envision.
Well, that's true, because it would put too many accountants and lawyers out of business,
exactly.
Right?
H&R Block.
Yeah, I'm sure they were lobbying hard against this, but most Americans still aren't going to understand it. And if you itemize, you're still going to need an accountant.
Yep.
Right? To make sure you're getting everything you can.
Well, I don't.
The business pass-throughs are still going to be rather complicated. Yeah. People are still going to need help with it.
Before we get out of here, so what do you think's next? Infrastructure, that's what they're saying.
What do I want to be next? What I want to be next is entitlements. People don't get the wrong impression. Don't buy into the Bernie Sanders thing. You just want to go out and cheat poor people. That's not what it's about. You got to get rid of the waste and the fraud and the built-in increases that automatically take effect every year. And we got to get away from this mentality that if you talk about cutting a planned increase in a program, that's different than cutting a program. If you know it's going up 3% next year and you want to limit that to 1%, the Democrats all scream and rant and rave that you're cutting this entitlement when in effect all you're doing is decreasing the amount of the increase.
Your black Democrat listeners will say that's just dog whistles to hurt black people.
Well, what the hell are you talking about?
Welfare reform and all that. That's just dog whistles. You really just want to hurt black folks.
The majority of welfare recipients aren't black.
I know, but that's how they'll paint it. You just want to hurt black people.
I know. You're right.
That are already hurting.
They've just been listening to the Democrat talking points for too long. That's pretty much what that is.
You got offended there.
Chris Arps? No, not at all. Not at all. Hey, I appreciate you, my friend.
Thank you for the gift. I appreciate that.
Merry Christmas to you. And